prelude to the Battle of Princeton began with a strategic masterstroke. George Washington's audacious crossing of the icy Delaware River on the night of December 25th to 26, 1776. This daring maneuver enabled a surprise attack on Hessian forces in Trenton, New Jersey, resulting in a significant American victory that greatly enhanced morale. Capitalizing on this momentum, Washington recrossed into New Jersey, cleverly evading British forces under General Charles Cornwallis. Under the cover of darkness, he led his army on a stealthy night march from Trenton to Princeton, aiming to confront and defeat the British garrison stationed there. Washington's plan was to mislead the British forces under General Charles Cornwallis. After the unexpected American victory at Trenton, Washington anticipated that the British would attempt to retaliate or regroup to counter further American actions. Knowing the odds were still heavily against his comparatively smaller and less equipped force, Washington sought to create a tactical advantage through deception. On the night of January 2nd, 1777, Washington instructed his troops to maintain a semblance of normalcy at the encampment near Trenton. This involves keeping the campfires burning brightly as they would on any regular encampment evening. The fires were crucial to the ruse. They were meant to suggest the American troops were still there, resting or possibly entrenched, preparing to defend against a British attack. To enhance the illusion, Washington even went as far as to have a small number of men stay behind to tend to the fires, make noise, and perform routine camp activities. These men were tasked with creating the auditory and visual illusions necessary to convince the British scouts or informants that the American army was still present in full strength. Meanwhile, the main body of Washington's army quietly departed, embarking on the tough march towards Princeton. This deceptive tactic allowed Washington's forces to slip away unnoticed, avoiding a direct confrontation with a larger British force that would surely have overwhelmed them. By the time the British realized that the significant presence of American troops was merely a facade, Washington was well on his way to executing his next strategic move, the surprise attack on Princeton. This clever use of misdirection played a pivotal role in the success of Washington's winter campaign, showcasing his adeptness in using psychological warfare and strategic deception to outmaneuver the British. The Battle of Princeton, fought on January 3, 1777, marked a crucial victory for General George Washington and his Continental Army, significantly altering the course of the American Revolution. The engagement unfolded just south of Princeton near Stony Brook, where American forces first clashed with the British troops in early morning hours. As the battle commenced, American forces, including the brigade led by Brigadier General Hugh Mercer, encountered British soldiers from the 17th and 55th Regiment. Mercer, a respected commander and close friend of Washington, found his forces quickly overwhelmed by the better equipped British troops. In the fierce combat that ensued, Mercer was tragically bayoneted and mortally wounded after his horse was shot out from under him. This moment proved critical as the fall of Mercer threatened to demoralize and destabilize the American lines. However, the tide of battle shifted dramatically with the arrival of General George Washington. Recognizing the precarious position of his troops, Washington rode to the front lines, rallying his men with remarkable personal bravery. In a pivotal moment that would become legendary, Washington led a daring charge against the British forces, reportedly exclaiming, "It's a fine fox chase, my boys." His direct involvement and conspicuous courage inspired his soldiers to renew their efforts against the British. The American countercharge forced the British to retreat, with the disarrayed forces pulling back to Nassau Hall of Princeton. American troops quickly surrounded the hall, and after a brief siege, the British soldiers holed up inside were compelled to surrender. This sequence of events not only marked a tactical victory on the battlefield, but also a significant psychological blow to the British morale. The strategic consequences of the Battle of Princeton were profound. Following closely on the heels of the victory at Trenton just a week earlier, this triumph at Princeton further boosted American morale and solidified Washington's reputation as a formidable leader. The successive victories were pivotal in sustaining the revolutionary spirit during a time when morale had been waning, and they reinvigorated the American cause. In terms of casualties, the battle was bloody but not overwhelmingly so. The British losses estimated at around 100 men killed, wounded, or captured. American losses were comparatively lighter but were deeply felt, particularly the loss of General Mercer. His death was a somber reminder of the high cost of the conflict. The victory at Princeton was not just a standalone achievement, but part of a broader strategic initiative during the winter of 1776 to 1777. With momentum now on their side, Washington and his army did not rest on their heels. Instead, They continued their active campaigns, eventually moving to winter quarters at Morristown, New Jersey. This position allowed Washington to maintain pressure on British forces in New Jersey, setting the stage for future engagements and a prolonged struggle that would continue for several more years.